Most people think Sicily is another part of Italy, but historically that's only half true. Because if you go back further enough, Sicily looks more Greek than Italian, so the real question is, are Sicilians actually Italians or something else entirely? Let's break it down. Look at a map of Sicily, then look at ancient Greece. Now tell me, why does one of the oldest Greek cities on earth sit in the middle of what everyone calls Italy? Sicily is officially Italian. Its people eat pasta, speak a dialect of Italian, and carry Italian passports. But dig beneath the surface, beneath the soil itself, and the DNA evidence tells a completely different story. Because 2,700 years ago, this island wasn't Italian. It wasn't even Roman. It was Greek. One of the most powerful Greek civilizations that ever existed. And the question historians, geneticists, and Sicilians themselves are still fighting over is this: did that ever truly change? Sicily is not just an island. It is the crossroads of civilizations. Sitting at the exact center of the Mediterranean Sea, it was fought over, colonized, and conquered by every great power of the ancient world: the Phoenicians, the Greeks, the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Arabs, the Normans, the Spanish. But of all these civilizations, none left a deeper mark than ancient Greece. Around 734 BC, Greek settlers from Corinth landed on the eastern coast of Sicily and founded a city called Syracuse. Within 2 centuries, it grew into one of the largest cities in the entire Greek world. Larger than Athens, more powerful than Sparta at its peak. They called this western frontier of Greek civilization Magna Graecia, Greater Greece. And Sicily was its crown jewel. Here's where it gets fascinating and controversial. In 2019, a sweeping genomic study published in Science analyzed ancient DNA from across the Mediterranean. The results shocked researchers. Modern Sicilians carry genetic signatures that trace directly back to ancient Greek settlers more than mainland Italians from Rome or Tuscany. In fact, Sicilians are genetically closer to Greeks and Anatolians than to northern Italians. Studies have also shown significant genetic overlap with Lebanese, Maltese, and Tunisian populations, reflections of the Arab and Phoenician periods. But the Greek ancestry is persistent. It survives 2,700 years later in the genetic code of people who today call themselves Italian. And this isn't just about biology. It's about what identity actually is and whether it's written in blood or chosen. Drive 2 hours west of Palermo, and you arrive at the Valley of the Temples, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with 7 ancient Greek temples, built between 510 and 430 BC. These aren't ruins in Greece, they're in Italy. Walk the streets of Selinunte, and you walk where Greek colonists built one of the grandest cities in Magna Graecia. Visit Segesta, and a perfectly preserved Doric temple stares back at you from a hilltop built by a people who were neither fully Greek nor fully Sicilian, but something entirely their own. Italy has more surviving ancient Greek architecture than Greece itself. That's not a typo. And the vast majority of it is in Sicily. But here's the paradox that throws everything off balance. From 827 to 1072 AD, Sicily was ruled not by Greeks or Romans, but by Arab Muslims from North Africa. They transformed the island. They introduced citrus fruits, sugarcane, cotton, and silk production. They renamed cities. They built palaces with Arabic inscriptions. The Sicilian language itself carries hundreds of Arabic loanwords that remain in daily speech today. Then the Normans arrived, Christian knights from northern France who had never seen anything like Arab Sicily, and instead of destroying it, they absorbed it. The Palatine Chapel in Palermo has Arabic inscriptions on a ceiling painted by Muslim craftsmen above Byzantine mosaics inside a Norman church, built in the 1100s. This is Sicily. No culture on earth has layered civilizations quite like this. Ask a Sicilian if they're Italian, And the answer is complicated. There's an old Sicilian saying, "Siamo Siciliani prima di tutto." We are Sicilian before anything else. Sicily has its own government, its own parliament, its own flag, the Trinacria, one of the oldest symbols in the world, depicting a three-legged figure with Medusa's head, surrounded by wheat. It predates the Italian Republic by 2,500 years. Sicilian identity is fiercely regional. When Italy was unified under Garibaldi in 1861, many Sicilians didn't celebrate. They revolted. They didn't want to be Italian. They wanted to be Sicilian. The unification to them felt like another conquest in a long line of foreign occupations. That feeling has never fully disappeared. So are Sicilians more Greek or more Italian? The genetic evidence says more Greek than most Italians. The historical record says shaped by Greeks more than any other civilization. The culture says neither and both and something older than both. Ask a Sicilian if they're Italian. If you're a stranger, they might say yes. If you're a trusted friend, if you ask on the right night, over the right glass of wine, they'll tell you something very different. This is not casual regional pride, like someone saying they're from Texas. This is a deep, almost defiant assertion of a separate identity, one that predates Italy by more than 2,000 years. When Garibaldi unified Italy in 1861 and incorporated Sicily into the new Italian state, he expected to be greeted as a liberator. Instead, within months, there were peasant uprisings across Sicily. Thousands of Sicilians took up arms against the new Italian government. They had not been asked whether they wanted to be Italian. They had simply been told that they now were. The resentment has never fully dissolved. Sicily still has its own regional parliament, its own government, its own special autonomous status within Italy, unique rights that no other Italian region has. It still flies its own ancient flag, the Trinacria, the three-legged symbol that dates back to the Greek colonists of 700 BC. And the Sicilian language itself, still spoken by older generations, still alive in rural interiors, is not a dialect of Italian. It is a separate Romance language, classified by UNESCO as a distinct tongue, carrying within it traces of Greek, Arabic, Norman French, Spanish, and ancient Sicel vocabulary that Italian never absorbed. Even the food tells the story. Sicilian cuisine is unlike anything else in Italy. Arancini, caponata, pasta alla norma, granita, cassata. Couscous, yes, couscous still eaten in the western Sicilian town of Trapani as a local tradition, not as an imported exotic dish. These are the flavors of the Arab kitchen, preserved for 1,000 years in a place that the world insists on calling Italian. Sicily is the oldest multicultural society in Europe. It was mixing DNA, languages, religions, and architectural styles for 1,000 years before the concept of Italy or Greece, as we know them, even existed. The real answer to this question isn't found in a nationality. It's found in something the ancient Greeks understood deeply, the idea that civilization is built at the crossroads, where different peoples collide, compete, and ultimately create something that belongs to no single ancestor. Sicily isn't Greek. It isn't Italian. It is the proof that the most extraordinary places on Earth are never one thing. If this video changed how you think about history, share it with someone who calls themselves Italian or Greek. We'll see what they say.